Welcome everyone. In this video we will discuss Agile Principles. We will start by discussing the Agile Manifesto value statements. Here's the manifesto for Agile software development, commonly called the Agile Manifesto. We will go through it piece by piece. We will see that many of the ideas apply to Agile projects in general. The Agile Manifesto starts with a bit of context saying we are uncovering better ways of developing software by doing it and helping others do it. The we in that statement refers to the people who authored it. They had a lot of experience and they described in general what they found to work well in developing software. By uncovering better ways of developing software, they are basically saying that in their experience, the plan-based or waterfall approach does not work well for software development compared to an agile approach. At the time they wrote this, agile approaches were not as common as they are today. This was an attempt to help transform the thinking of the software development industry. So the manifesto contains 4 value statements. The first one is, through this work, we have come to value individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Using the word over in the value statement help clarify what they are talking about in the context of trying to convince an industry to change from waterfall to agile. This approach makes more sense. They are placing high value on individuals and their interactions. This is related to empowering the team and encouraging collaboration. They are placing lower value on processes and tools. An empowered team can choose the processes and tools that work best for them. After the 4 value statements, they further explain the structure of value statements. That is, while there is value in the items on the right, we value the items on the left more. Again, in the context of trying to convince an industry to change, this makes sense. In an agile approach, the team is empowered to make decisions. The processes and tools that the team uses is secondary to that. The next statement is, we have come to value working software over comprehensive documentation. This places the value on continuously building things that work over heavy upfront planning. A large upfront planning document is likely to be quite wrong and/or misunderstood, and therefore is a source of waste. The next statement is we have come to value customer collaboration over contract negotiation. This is basically saying that the customer should be a member of the team, realizing that building the project is a continuous learning process on all sides. When an upfront agreement is made, the true nature of the project is not completely known, and the team and its customers should realize that and work together. The last of the 4 statements is, we have come to value responding to change over following a plan. This is basically acknowledging that, especially for complex one-off projects, you cannot predict the future, and instead of heavy upfront planning, a better strategy is to embrace change. So, that is a look at the value statements in the Agile Manifesto. They were basically saying that for software development, they have experienced that agile processes work better than traditional waterfall processes. These ideas seem straightforward and almost common sense now. You can see that most of these value statements have nothing to do with software and can apply it to many types of projects. So to simplify things, we will convert the Agile Manifesto value statements into principles. The first principle is to empower the team. This comes from the individuals and interactions over processes and tools statement. The second principle is to embrace change. This comes from the responding to change over following a plan statement. The third principle is to partner with the customer. This comes from the customer collaboration over contract negotiation statement. And the fourth principle is to plan, develop, and deliver incrementally. This comes from the working software over comprehensive documentation statement. Next, we will discuss the 12 principles described in the Agile Manifesto that you could find in Agile Alliance website. After creating the 4 value statements, the group created 12 principles related to Agile development. We will take the liberty to organize, simplify, and reword these to allow us to end up with a single set of simple Agile principles. We will also make the principles generally applicable rather than focused only on software development. So let's get started. The first principle states our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. In other words, plan, develop, and deliver incrementally. This is very different from the waterfall approach where a big plan is created and the entire product is built in stages. Also, a main benefit of early and continuous delivery is that you are obtaining fast feedback. This is one of the key benefits of using an agile approach, since early feedback can result in much less wasted effort. This principle is also highlighting the need to focus on value. The second principle is welcome changing requirements even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. So in other words, embrace change. It provides a competitive advantage. The third principle is deliver working software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months with a preference to the shorter time scale. Today, many teams deliver multiple times a day. To cast this statement, in other words, plan, develop, and deliver incrementally with a preference to a higher frequency. Also, when you are delivering frequently, you are obtaining fast feedback. The fourth principle is business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. In other words, collaborate to create shared understanding. You want all team members to work together often, communicate in a way that everyone understands, and have a clear understanding of the project. The fifth principle is build projects around motivated individuals, give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. In other words, select motivated individuals and empower the team. The sixth principle is the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is a face-to-face conversation. In other words, prefer conversations for conveying information. Whenever people communicate, part of the information has a chance of not being accurately conveyed. The best chance of being understood is with conversation. You can contrast this with a plan-driven approach, where the people reading the plan have a higher likelihood of misunderstanding what the people writing the plan meant. So the seventh principle is working software is the primary measure of progress. In other words, completed work items are the primary measure of progress. The eighth principle is agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. In other words, maintain a sustainable pace. It is a byproduct of the proper use of agile processes. It's important to trust the team to make appropriate commitments. Most agile organizations encourage working at a sustainable pace. The ninth principle is continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. In other words, don't compromise on quality. It can be tempting to take shortcuts in order to deliver, but it's much better to develop with a high quality continuously. Also, continuously refactor to maintain agility. Refactoring basically means that you are improving the product without changing its functionality. This often involves simplifying and increasing the quality of the product. The result of this is that the product can be easily adapted to changing conditions. The 10th principle is simplicity. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. In other words, continually strive for simplicity, eliminate waste, and focus on value. By the way, in many contexts, that is a debatable definition of simplicity. Achieving simplicity is often not easy, and is not about minimizing the amount of work done. Here are some quotes related to simplicity that seemed to contradict a literal reading of the 10th principle of the Agile Manifesto. Steve Jobs said, "It takes a lot of hard work to make something simple." And also Leonardo da Vinci said, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." So let's move to the 11th principle, which is the best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. In other words, teams should be self-organized. It results in the best outcomes. And the last principle is at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, they tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. In other words, continuously inspect and adapt. Things like daily stand-ups and retrospectives are used to adjust the behavior of the tool. So to conclude, the main principles are to empower the team, embrace change, plan, develop, and deliver incrementally, and focus on value. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.